Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show today. Today is Sunday, and we have decided to do another show because we really wanted to bring on a gentleman by the name of Tim from the Water Shop. And Christopher James is going to discuss his case. It is something that just has occurred, and we wanted to really get this information to you to show you how and what is going on with Tim and the Water Shop. So good day, gentlemen, and welcome, Tim, and welcome, Christopher. Nice to have you on the show.
Good day.
Wonderful to see you again, Amina.
Yes, it's always good to see you, Christopher. So yeah, Chris, let's talk about this. What is happening and what has happened recently? Because you contacted me and you thought it was urgent that we, do this show and talk about Tim's story.
Well, thank you again. And thanks, Tim, for being here. I'll just do a little intro here so everybody understands what's gone on here. As everybody knows right now, with all this COVID nonsense that's going on and fraud that's occurring around our world, the people that are running their own businesses have been under attack for a very long time. They've been locked down. They've been told that they have to, have all the social distancing in their stores. Then restaurants, especially, they can only sit so close to each other. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's destroying people's businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've talked about, is that the foundation of all of this is ultimately the biggest enemy that we have right now is ignorance. Okay, our fellow man is simply not educated enough to understand this colossal level of deceit, which is very simple to understand once they start to look at it surrounding the COVID-19. So what has happened here is I've got a wonderful man here I'm going to let tell what has happened recently, which is a trespass. He had a visitation from, or a trespass, shall we say, from two people that work for a service corporation called Burlington. That's the city of Burlington. And these two people act as bylaw officers, okay? This is the new garbage that's coming out with this COVID nonsense where they're going into businesses and they're creating more havoc and obviously causing a lot of wrong and harm once you're going to hear what's occurred here within Tim's store here. So Tim, I'd just like to introduce you to everybody. This is Tim, my good friend from Burlington here at the Water Store. Tim, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Chris.
And if you can, Tim, we'll just go back. We've got a document that we're going to show everyone how you actually respond when these type of trespasses occur. Very powerfully, very succinctly, and very simply. And the documentation that we're going to show after we discuss this here, this is what every man and woman should be firing off to their MPs and MPPs right now. Why? Because it establishes clearly the rule of law. It establishes clearly who's in control here, okay? We've always hammered home, Amina, the importance of those three words, trespass, property, and who, okay? And all three of those are encumbered into this conversation today. So let's take it back, Tim. I believe it was it Tuesday of this past week?
I believe so.
Okay, so you just want to give everyone a little bit of a background about you and your business, and then just walk us through what happened on Tuesday up until, until you contacted me.
Okay, so the business itself has been here for 30 years. In Burlington. It's a water shop. People come in and fill their bottles of water because they don't want to drink city water and all the contaminants that are in that. So they come in here to get pure water. So I purchased this store almost 2 years now ago, and these people came in as bylaw officers and approached me and said they had a complaint because I don't wear a mask. I said, no, I don't wear a mask and I am exempt. So it doesn't really apply to me. They said, oh, there's other issues. The one gentleman, he was actually polite and very nice. So I let him speak to me and have his spiel, which was my mistake. I should have right at that point said, I have nothing to say to you. Please exit my store. But I wanted to hear their piece and we'll go on from there. So they, as he was talking to me and explaining what they believe are laws that apply to me in my store. The other bylaw officer, Mike Medcalf, I believe is his name, he went and approached a customer that came in and was cleaning out a water bottle. Just a quick rundown. People come in, they rinse their bottles out to clean them before they fill them. So she was rinsing it out, and she was wearing a face shield. And he actually started talking to her and made her cry, telling her that the face shield isn't adequate enough and you need a mask on too. Anyways, she ended up getting her water, and I bring the water out to her car for her. And you okay? She goes, yeah, I'll be all right. So that's fine. She left. The guys were still in here. He then approached the same bylaw officer, approached another customer, and told her she was wearing it underneath her nose. She has trouble breathing, so there's other underlying issues. That's when I started to get a little aggravated, and there was another gentleman that came in just after the bylaw officers, and he was standing here as a potential customer. He sat there and seen what was going on and took off. He all but ran out of here. So I lost now another potential customer. Anyway, so at that point in time, I said, okay, that's it. I've had enough. You have no right whatsoever approaching my customers, talking to my customers in my store, and you have no right here. They said, oh, yes, we do have a right. We've had a complaint in that. I said, I don't care. In all of this, one gentleman, he did apologize to me and say, you know what, this isn't the way this is supposed to happen. I said, well, it did. And so, you guys are no longer welcome in my store. You guys are trespassing against me. They then went outside and they sat out in a designated water shop parking spot. So they were taking up another parking spot. They actually took up 2 spots. Anyways, they then sat out there for a while. I went out there to ask him to leave and move to another spot. I don't care, but get away from the front of my store so that people that come in, they don't have to haul a bottle any further than they have to. And so he said, yeah, he said, I'll be sending you an email and everything. I said, that's fine. You do what you have to do. I'll do what I have to do on my end. So at that point, that's when I contacted Christopher, and we started chatting about it, and he helped me guide me down the path that we are going. In his email, he sent me a bunch of PDF files on pictures of masks, and also a mandatory mask face covering bylaw, a guide for businesses, and that's all fine. He also said he'll be returning on Monday.
Right. Now we're talking about Mike Metcalf and this other gentleman, correct?
Yes.
This Ingram, I can't pronounce his name.
Yes, Abraham
Darby or something. That's okay. We don't need to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
So let me just jump in here for a sec. Thank you very much, Tim, for letting everybody understand the process, this trespass that's occurred against you. People need to understand that this is what is being rolled out right across our country and our world. These people that are acting in, remember, when Tim was stating to this man, right, that that he's trespassing, that they have no rights in here, and this man's responding, yes, we do have rights. This goes back to the communications that Amina and I have been talking about, that we educate people on. That when you act in a role, okay, it doesn't matter what you're acting at. The second that you're not acting as a man or a woman, you have no rights. You have duties and obligations, as these people do that are acting as bylaw officers for a service corporation. Okay, they have no rights. They've got duties and obligations, and those duties and obligations, they do not trump the rights of a man or a woman. What we're seeing here, as I said at the top of this discussion, we are dealing with an enormous amount of ignorance Okay. And in Burlington here, I want on the record so everybody knows, the city of Burlington is rife with corruption. Okay. I have multiple cases against this repugnant service corporation and multiple people in departments for several years right now. Again, why has this not moved forward? Well, actually, it did at one point. I want everyone to know this is something the city of Burlington never know. The little ragtag newspaper called the Burlington Post, which is nothing more than a glorified high school paper. They were given all this information and truth years ago of what was going on at the city of Burlington. And to show you the magnitude of it is that the chief of police, for the first time in the history of Burlington back in the day, he relinquished jurisdiction. Okay. And he gave it to the OPP. Why? Because the OPP were coming in now to investigate massive fraud. And again, I got a couple of Keystone cops. It was the first time this ever happened in the history of Burlington, and the people never knew about it. Okay? The entire council got investigated for fraud, and I had them dead to sights. Well, why didn't it come to fruition? Again, it's because we have incompetent people that were working at that time for the OPP that didn't understand trust law. They didn't understand lawful legal. Again, it's this big mess. And this is why ultimately I got to where I am, is because I got fed up seeing all these people that are making like or acting like they're supposed to be there protecting and serving, and what they're doing is not actually occurring. So in this case with Tim, when this happened, this is a wonderful opportunity. I'm very sorry that this trespass occurred. And I want everyone to know that I don't think Tim really put across how upsetting this was in his store, okay? For a man to leave the store that was there as a potential customer because of the communications, the verbal dialogue that was going on, and the veracity at which it was going on against these two women was totally unacceptable. So what we did here, if I can right now, and it's very important you drill down on that with him. When Tim asked him to leave his store, get off his property, and they're trespassing, that's what all of these people are doing, whether they're bylaw officers, whether an officer, an agent of a service corporation such as Halton Police or the OPP or the RCMP or any of your municipal police forces. If they happen to show up at your store because they're listening to some complaint that's come in, well, a man or a woman doesn't respond to a complaint. We respond to a claim, okay? Has this man, Tim, caused any wrong or harm to any man or woman? No. So what the hell are you people doing even talking to him? See, this is where you need to understand that not a single thing that any of these service corporations that are acting as municipalities, okay, or municipal governments, not a damn thing they put to pen to paper applies to we the people. They're all in there in their little private little chambers writing all these wonderful bylaws, and then they got these morons that go out. I'm sorry, I have to call them that, because they should know the difference between right and wrong. If Ingram, actually, this one gentleman said, hey, it's not supposed to go like this, that's right, buddy. It's not supposed to go like this at all. Why? Because if these people were educated on what was going on surrounding this COVID-19, they would all recognize the fraud that many of us have uncovered and that we're seeing now from multiple thousands of doctors around the world that are bringing forth. So what we did, if I can right here, Amina, did you want to ask any questions, Amina, or want me to share the document that we've gone to the next step now?
Yeah, I think just share the document and let's go through and show them what that looks like. I think that would be good.
Okay. Okay, so what we're showing here, and God bless Tim for stepping up. There's lots of people like Tim, okay? They're starting to step up, and this is what I'm telling everybody, okay? If you've got your own private business, it's your own personal business there, it's your property, I'm just telling you what I know is truth. We know that the COVID is fraud, all the information about it. If it was my store, as I've told Tim, pull your signs down of this social distancing, get away from all this nonsense of these masks, because all we're doing when we engage in any of this communication is we're giving life to this corruption. Okay, people have got to realize, okay, you let them shut your business down for 6 months first time, or whatever it was 6 months ago. They're going for round 2 now, people. All right, and this has to stop. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where all of you that are self-employed, you've been running your family businesses, being it restaurants, whatever it is, you need to push back here. And this is how you do it. Okay, you bring out into the light that these people have no right to administrate property, okay, that they have no right to. So let's look at this document. This is how we do it honorably. I'll share my screen here.
And repeat these steps, the 3, you know, the trespass, the who. When you're talking about this, emphasize that so we hear and get used to the words and where they're being used and how they're used.
Yep. 2 seconds here. Where did that go? Did I lose that?
You did share it earlier.
Oh. Yeah, it was because it was hidden. Just 2 seconds here. I got to get this zoom up here. There we go. It doesn't seem to want to show it. Let me try it again here. There it is. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so what happened here immediately, this is the same process that you do, okay? If you get a traffic ticket, if you get any of these people coming from a service corporation that you do not have a contract with, okay, remember that. Tim does not have a contract with this service corporation called Burlington. It's no different if Burger King showed up and two of their agents and their officers with their lovely little Burger King hats are showing up trying to give him some Burger King bylaw. It's the same shtick. Okay, this is how simple you need to understand this is. He doesn't have a contract with Burger King or Tim Hortons. He doesn't have a contract with the service corporation called the City of Burlington. And that means that all the agents and officers that operate within that service corporation, they have no jurisdiction over any man or woman outside of unless you're working for that corporation. So this is how you respond to it very powerfully and very quickly. This is the format. You see Tim's name at the top here. I've put out, crossed out his family name, probably also because Amina and I would have a little bit of problem pronouncing it on a Sunday morning. But we'll just call him Tim from the Water Story. He's a wonderful man. So what we're seeing here, this is how the letter starts out. You put your proper name at the top here on the right-hand side, and then you put, see, it says Marion Mead Ward. I don't write to the mayor, right, or their fiction that they are. And then it says after it, a woman who sometimes acts as mayor. Now, some people might see that and say, geez, that might be a little bit rude. No, you're actually establishing and you're making perfectly crystal clear to this man or woman who you're writing to and in their capacity. He's not writing to them as a mayor. Okay, he's writing to them as the man or woman that's acting as a mayor. And it's very important you understand that separation because they cannot hide behind their position, okay, within this service corporation in which they're operating. So as we see down here, you get the name, their address, the date, and then you put what it's regarded, trespass. This is what it always is. And then as I teach people, you put in the square brackets what the trespass refers to. And this is by Marion Mead Ward and people under her control. You see, the head of a service corporation or any corporation, they are ultimately liable. You've got Bob Paulson, who was the past RCMP commissioner, okay, for the RCMP for many, many years. And what he said when he was under oath or affirmation about 4 years ago before he left is that he told everybody that he is ultimately responsible. He's the one that's ultimately liable for all the actions of the officers underneath his control. So it's important you understand that that applies to every man or woman that acts as the head of any corporation. Right? Burger King, McDonald's, City of Burlington, the government of Ontario, right? Everybody is within this corporate structure. So that's who is ultimately responsible within their world because they all know that no matter what they put pen to paper for their duties and obligations for their agents and officers to do with whatever services they're providing, that they cannot come out into the public and trespass against another man or woman, okay? Or administrate over them or take their rights away. And this is exactly what's happened simply, not only to Tim, but has also happened to these two wonderful women that came into his store. It's absolutely horrific when you think a grown man is coming down and barreling down on a woman about because she doesn't have a mask. She had a visor on, but when you realize that all of this stuff, none of this stuff has been needed, that's the part where the rubber really hits the road. So we address all of that in this letter here. So it starts out, and then you see the next part after the trespass is the notice liability. This is what everybody's going to be able to copy. This is what everybody should be sending off right now to their MPs and MPPs and mayors and putting them on notice, okay? And it starts out, this letter is to the woman who acts as mayor for the Service Corporation Burlington. So you're hitting her right between the eyes. Let's make crystal clear, Susie, here, what position you are and the jurisdiction in which you have. That means control. She has control only over officers and agents within that service corporation. Then it goes Tuesday, October the 20th at 2:30 p.m. Two people under Marianne control trespassed without right. So very simple to understand. These agents under your control are a man, Ibrahim Darbaja, whatever it is, and a man, Mike Metcalf. I demand post haste, that means immediately, obviously. Marianne produced.
Oh, wait, I want to emphasize you have I as a small I, which represents you, and the dot on the I is the head of the man.
Yep, you used the wrong word there, Amina. I got to correct you. You never use the word you. You use a trick word. We never use you. We never use person, right? We got to, this is the re-education that people need to understand. And the reason you see that small I that we've talked about is because when you learn from my website, when anything is capitalized, okay, under Roman law, it diminishes the capacity of the man or woman to something less than what they are. And that's what the word civil means. If we haven't covered that, I think we did, but we'll touch on it again. Civil means Roman. When you look at, that's why the rules of civil procedure, see, it's the rules of Roman law. So anyways, back to this. It's very important you understand it because that all files into a claim when you're moving forward as the Sukleski court has established. So it says I, that's why we have the small I, because it still represents the man or the woman. You still got your head on top. And that's why when you're capitalized, you can see the head's gone. It's a unique little way. And I got that from Carl Lentz out of the United States. I don't take credit for it, but I think it's a wonderful way. And that's how I like to communicate in all my writings, because it draws attention to a man or woman that's not seen that before. When they start seeing it repeatedly throughout the letter, they're going, why is this guy using a small I and not using a capital I? So I use any way I can to engage people at the other end to learn this stuff. So, as it says, I demand post haste Marian produce the written verifiable evidence with wet signature that, now here's the keys. These are the 3 keys to the kingdom, people. Marianne or any man or woman under your control claim I property. 2, Marianne or any man or woman under your control can administrate property without right. And 3, the powerful one, obligation, contract, exists with the Service Corporation Burlington, relinquishing my rights. So that's how powerful it is. Where did these people get the jurisdiction, control to come onto this man's property, making all these orders and cause all this wrong and harm? Okay, one of these 3 things have to exist here. And we all know that the first 2 don't. And that's why we require them to produce the obligation, because they're going under as these 2 people that showed up that are simply ignorant between the difference between legal and lawful. They seem to think that anything that is created within the service corporation, they can go out then like gods and apply this to every man and woman. No, you can't, Jack. It's all words on a piece of paper, and contract makes the law. That's why that 3rd obligation is there, because unless they claim that Tim is property or that they can administrate property without right, then they've got to produce the obligation where they get the right. Okay, because remember, contract gives a man or woman a right if they're engaged. If you're engaged if Tim was engaged with a contract with them, and it specifically said where Tim has relinquished his rights, and he's going to allow them to come in and dictate to him and order him around to how he's supposed to carry on his business, his life, then that's a different story. But they don't have that. And without that, they have no business showing up and trespassing, and on top causing all this enormous wrong and harm, terrorizing. That's what they were ultimately doing. See, the word terrorism refers to a man or a woman that is, in the government's perspective, is anything that interferes with its right to govern, okay? Well, as a man or a woman, are we not self-governing when we walk out from our houses or in our houses? We're self-governing 24/7, 7 days a week. If a man or woman comes and trespasses against us and is preventing us or trying to intimidate us in a way to how we're supposed to be acting, free, administrating our own property, right? Governing ourselves accordingly, then that is a trespass. That is also terrorism against a man or a woman. So that's what these bylaw officers have also done. The trespass word is out there, but the malfeasance is there. They've terrorized these women, okay, and they've caused wrong and harm, all right? Tim losing a customer, that's the wrong part of it. The harm part of it, it was very emotional for these people, and I'm sure it was emotional for Tim too. He's a big guy. I'm sure he can take a lot, but still, none of this stuff should have happened. So when we get into this further, it says, further terrorism occurred on 2 women in my store and witnessed by other people. Mike Metcalf approached these people. One woman he made cry who had a face shield on, because she has issues with the mask, which he has no business even speaking to her about. And that's absolutely the truth, right? Neither did Tim. Tim couldn't do that in his store. He could go over and start harassing that woman because she was wearing a mask or some type of her property that she has on her body. He can't tell her how to wear it. Right? Especially if Tim doesn't have a doctorate.
And that's what they were telling me, that it's up to me to do that. I said, no, it's not. I have a sign on my door and it says, with or without a mask, you are welcome in this establishment.
Yeah. And thank you for,
that's plain and simple.
That's great, Tim, that you bring that up, because that is on the door front as well. And that's why it says after it says, or even being on my property unless evidence produced as required above. This is unlawful and despicable. And then you say simply, is this man a certified doctor? No. He works for a service corporation called Burlington. Remember that. This man has no background. I've got a PhD more than these people do when it comes to the health. Again, the truth is always paramount. So it says, this was sickening to see, and why I removed Mike off the property store immediately and told don't return. This is a direct reflection on Marion Mead Ward, who is now on notice. So you put these people on notice, which you're going to see attached, which is very simple and powerful. Anything less than Mike fired immediately from the service corporation, or it means Marion condones this behavior. This man must be fired for what he did. They have no business, because they're liable for doing this in this man's store. It's very serious. We don't go out into people's store and terrorizing them. And yet you're seeing this happen to all the restaurant owners, right? We've got all these new type of bylaw officers, or maybe these COVID officers that they've created now, these these agents and officers that are supposed to be enforcing all these social distancing rules that have been pulled out of the arse of all these MPs. It's not lawfully applicable to any man or woman. This is what you need to see. And then it says, written apology on the public record is owed to this woman, and I require the same. There was a further trespass with a man, potential new customer, that when witnessed the trespass, hearing verbal harassment by these agents, all but ran out of my store. Simply disgusting. Further, any man or woman who shows up outside or inside my property, business, or home from the Service Corporation Burlington, Marion Mead Ward will be liable for trespass. And he's absolutely right, as all of us are, in putting that fact out there. The trespass is set as $25,000 per agent or officer under Marion control from any Service Corporation agent attempting to administrate property without right. Remember, you're not another man or woman's property. And unless they got that contract, boy, they better be careful, because it's going to get real serious for these people if they don't do a complete about face and bring us truth out into the light, which we further put here. As it says here, trespass fines are in place as of today, and then it states, Marion Mead Ward, further ignorance to truth and within the entire corporation is also unacceptable. So I've given her the link now to 1,000 German doctors that have come forward, okay, minimum, that are screaming at the top of their lungs that all of this COVID is based on fraud. And this is fact, okay? They're doctors. Then you go to the next one, Sunday, October the 18th, 2020. There's another link that I gave her here. Here's where the doctors were on the Supreme Court steps in the United States. Again, they're outing that the mainstream media is lying to everybody, that the science is not being brought forth. It's an incredible view. This is all that these people that are acting as MPs, MPPs, and mayors, or any service corporation that are supposed to be protecting the property of man, this is all they need to see. Here, when they sit and watch this, and all of you as well, go and look at these links that hopefully this document, hopefully Amina will put up within the website or the YouTube channel as well for download, because it's important that people also see these links. And this is on the public record. That's why this is powerful. And then lastly, all agents under your control require truth. See, Tim and I are still being honorably. Here's a multiple top doctors and others who have been correct all the way along, and that's to my website where I've got over 60 videos, okay, that if people just go and pick a handful of them from the doctors, they're going to see that something is wrong. These people are bringing forth verified evidence to the fraud and the incredible deceit that's been placed over all of us and that is now running rampant. And that's why this is how we have to stop this at the local level. You have to deal directly with these people, and you put it in writing powerfully, as we've done. And it says, my counselor at law, that's what I am. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm never going to be a lawyer, but every man and woman, it is our duty to understand law. And there's no requirement for any man or woman to have a license, okay, to practice law in this world. That's our duty. Remember that. The bar doesn't like that you know that. So it says, my counselor at law is advised if trespass occurs again by people under your control surrounding any aspect of this COVID fraud, God bless us putting that in there, then trespass fines occur and court will be moved, and we will. We, the people, are wide awake in the rampant corruption. Govern yourselves accordingly. I trust this is crystal clear to the woman Marion Mead Ward and all under her control, and I will swear under oath or affirmation that all herein be true. And then here's the notice. This is how powerful it is. It's very simple. Notice liability. I, Tim of the, we'll just say the Water Shop family, do hereby give notice liability. Produce written verifiable evidence with wet signature immediately, and see, and this is what they have to do. They cannot just simply sit back there and beak off right from their offices, or beak off out in public, or beak off on the television. No, you've got to bring forward written verifiable evidence that what? Marianne Mead, a woman acting as mayor, or any man or woman under her control, claim my property. Marianne or any man or woman under her control can administrate property without right. And the third one again, the obligation, the contract exists with the Service Corporation Burlington, relinquishing my rights. They've got to produce a contract that Tim has with them, and they don't have it. Otherwise, do not trespass. There's the notice. Trespass fine is set at $25,000 per man or woman involved, and he will swear under oath or affirmation that all herein said be true. Now, this is his store. Okay, remember, Amina, and this is his property, right? So he can administrate it any way he wants. He could have put $100,000 in there as the trespass fine, $1 million if he wanted to. You have the choice as a man or woman whether to trespass or whether to engage in him, because that's a form of contract engagement. You've been given notice, don't trespass in this man's store. If these people show up again, then they're contracting with him, and you've obviously got the evidence that what they're doing is not of a right that they have. And that's where that money will be enforced. No different than when you see, municipal property where they've got the signs up, no trespassing, or hydro, don't go in here. It's 25,000 or 10,000. It's the same foundational truth. And this is what people need to start incorporating against all of these municipalities and these service people, that are acting as bylaw officers trying to enforce this COVID-19 and all these, ridiculous regulations. So I hope everyone will download that communication that Tim's got here, because that's very powerful. And we sent that to them on Friday, correct, Tim?
Yes.
So Marion's got that on Friday, and we expect to have a response from them. We require a response from them in writing by Monday.
And I followed up, sorry, Christopher. Yep. I followed up with a phone call to the mayor's office and the number on the page.
And
left a message. Nobody answered, obviously.
But they do get the message. You have to understand, again, I tell everyone, the mayor's office, remember, it's no different than me at my end right now, is that you get inundated with hundreds of emails every day, if not thousands. Remember, that's the mayor. So you've got everybody bitching and whining, complaining about, oh, my leaves didn't get picked up, to, something very serious as a trespass, horrific, or fraud that's occurring, like Tim's brought to our attention right now. So see, this is important because we use this trespass as a vehicle, not only to address the rights, all right, and the trespass that's occurred, but we're also educating. It's on the public record here. We've provided them now with evidence that doctors from around the world are coming out surrounded with this COVID. And this is what people need to do. You need to put this truth in front of everyone, because that single document there, that's also going to nail Marion Mead if she doesn't stop what she's doing with all these lockdowns.
Christopher,
Okay?
what timeline do you see with that document? Like, you've submitted it on Friday. So is there a timeline that they have to respond by, or what do you expect?
Well, we take one day at a time, right? We expect them. They should be responding by Monday in a written response, an apology, not only to Tim, but also to whoever that man or woman that came in the store. If they don't do that, Amina, then what is that showing? Okay. This is why when I tell everybody, you go back and you look at my presentation from 5 years ago on that channel, A Planned Trespass Against the Mind of Man. Mm-hmm. What did I say in that initial salvo when I came out into the public? Is I told everybody, I'm going to hold everyone accountable to their honor. I'm going to drag this out into the light, okay? And this is what Tim and I are doing right now. Mm-hmm. We are dragging this trespass out into the light, and we're also dragging what their response is going to be. So right. I don't know what their response is going to be, but I really don't. I hope that they're going to act correctly and address this. But given my past history with this woman, like I say, I'm saying on the record for the claim that there's massive corruption that's going on with the Service Corporation. Mm-hmm. She's the trespasses she's committed alone. Like I said, that's why I'm saying we need to open up these service corporations like a can of worms and bring all this massive wrong and harm that's occurring. It's mm-hmm. in multiple departments, not just the bylaw department. And this is a template, Amina, for every single service, the city of Toronto, Oakville, or whatever. I'm not attacking them unrelinquishedly, because mm-hmm. all of these people, through our ignorance, are acting against the people without right. And then it just depends what the variance of the corruption is. But when you get into planning, again, my background in general contracting for 25 years, I saw massive corruption in the planning department, mm-hmm. right? That's why for the first time there was a field that was being built here in Burlington. That's why the police got brought in, and the people didn't hear about it. Well, guess what? This time the people are all going to hear about it. Okay, my YouTube channel has been shut down until I think Thursday, but on Thursday, this is getting uploaded to my channel. Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to push this out. Everyone needs to push this out to all property owners, to all business owners, that this is how you respond. That notice that I have there, that's all you have to write to that man or woman that's the head of any service corporation where their agents are coming into your office.
Now, will you will you have that up on your website?
Yes, that's going to be put up on my website, because it's going to be the case number 4 now that I'm bringing forward. But I'll get that up a little later today. My web guy is not around, unfortunately, but I'll have it up by tomorrow. But hopefully you can at least put a link or something to it now in a Dropbox in this video when it goes up tonight. Mm-hmm. And again, it's important we get this out to everybody. This is the same document, and Tim, that actually people now in British Columbia now are putting together a template to help other people out. It just doesn't apply to people that are in business. It applies to all of us. You mm-hmm. look at those 3 simple questions. They're very powerful, and they're required to answer them. They cannot just push ahead because saying, well, I work for Coca-Cola or McDonald's here. My policy here says that I can do all this, Jack, so I'm going to come and do it in your store. Really? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that as soon as that man got brought in with a trial jury, that man's finished, right? A jury of our peers is going to understand what's happened to Tim here. They're going to understand that these people had no jurisdiction to do what they did because there's no contract, and they're not going to claim the first 2 points are true. So that's how powerful this is. And in that very quick moment, they're out of there and they're held accountable in court. And this is how it applies to Justin Trudeau. This is how it applies to Doug Ford. So you can take it right up the chain. It's those same 3 powerful questions. These people that are bylaw officers were working for a service corporation. They're no different if Justin Trudeau or if Doug Ford walked into Tim's store, right? He would tell them the exact same thing. Am I your property? Can you administrate property without right? You or any of your agents, Justin or Doug? They'd say no. That's right. Then honorably produce the contract, which you seem to have some presumption exists that allows you to come into my store and engage with me in this capacity. See, it's very simple. And that's why once these 3 simple points get brought into a court of law, which is happening with the Sekleski court, it's over for the bar. And that's why it makes a man like Tim here very powerful now moving forward, who's been trespassed against. No one's going to do this again to him. And more importantly, they'll never even think about doing that to a couple of women. You know, I'm really disgusted by this man whose name is Mike Metcalf, what he's done here. How dare a man go and do that to two women? Like, I mean, this guy's got to be fired on the spot. You do not do that. And we have multiple witnesses here. So the ball's in Marion Mead's court, and I want everyone to see exactly what she's going to do. And all of you can also simply, if you want to get on board, you saw her email address in this, write a letter to her, those that are seeing this, saying, we just saw what happened to Tim at the water store, and we require a written public, you know, response to what has gone on here, and obviously an apology, because this man's caused no wrong and harm. So see, it's very powerful how we can start to build upon this. Very simply, a simple communication. When everybody sees it, then everybody has to get on that communication and go at these people that are ultimately responsible. Because if you get someone like Marion Mead to turn on a dime, which would be wonderful, I don't think it's going to happen, but if you get her to do it, well, is she not a member of all these mayors right across our country? Do you not think the other mayors and other municipalities are going to see what's just happening to Marion Mead here, and they don't want that to happen to them? See, it's an honorable way in which we engage in this. There's nothing threatening that we said in that letter. We stood our case here. We're saying, look, Jack, anyone shows up here on this property, okay, you know now you've been put on notice that you're trespassing and you're terrorizing me, okay? You're coming in here to mess with my self-governance of running a business honorably. It's different if, you know, they were walking into Tim's store and he had rats all running around, you know, and there was drug paraphernalia, or there was wrong and harm going on left and right. Well, that's what, you know, the police and that are there for, to make sure that those type of environments, you know, if they do exist, that we stop that, because that's not a healthy environment. But that's not the case with Tim. And by the way, Tim's got the best water store anywhere in Burlington here. I just love him to death. He's got great service. He's a great man or whatever. And that's why I've known Tim since he moved into the new store. And this is how we started talking about things. And he's well aware of warriorcalls.com. He's well aware of this colossal fraud that we're all filled with. So that's why we're able to use this moment. And again, I say this, I said to the good Lord, you know, Amina and Tim, many years ago, I said, bring me your angels, right? Send me your angels so that I can do this battle. Tim is an angel to me. So I just want you, and you too, Amina, for what you do. But I want to let you know, Tim, I really appreciate you coming forward and into the light, because Tim's not doing this just for himself. He's doing this for his fellow man.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Christopher, for showing us the light.
Yeah. And just so people know, like, how much did I charge you for my time?
Nada.
That's right.
Nothing.
You can't charge people for this. And I want people to know that I get a lot of communications now, people wanting me to help them. You've got to understand something with all my heart, people. I'm on the battlefield right now, an enormous battlefield to move this truth forward. And right now, when this happened with Tim, it was a way for me to use the here and now to flip it and show people across multiple fronts now. See people that have their own businesses, people that are at home, people that are worried about all these masks. How do you interact with these people? I'm showing you this in writing. This is what you hand to them a notice, but you've got to speak it from your heart, your mind, and soul. You have to realize that you're not property of another man or woman, and that contract makes the law between us. These are foundational 101 truths, facts that instill the love and the respect that we're supposed to all have for our fellow man and woman, because we come into this world and we all know what? That we're not supposed to trespass ever against our man or woman. Do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. Do you think Mike Metcalf, if he's married and if his wife was in the store, how do you think he'd feel if Tim went at her, right? See, we don't do that to each other. We have to stop all this fighting. And the reason that we're fighting with each other is because this enormous ignorance exists in the consciousness of man. But through these incredible shows that we're doing, and now this communication in real time, people are going to be able to see what happens. And we're going to follow up on this by the end of next week. I mean, once we get a response from the city of Burlington, I would ask you as well to contact Marion Mead, say I would like her to come on the show and address this with us. Have her come on and address what's going on. At least lay that out there. Put their feet to the fire. And if she gets a few hundred people writing to her saying, Marion Mead, this is unacceptable what's happened against this man Tim at the water store. We've seen the evidence now. We also require to see a response post haste. Something simple. Kind regards. Put their feet to the fire. We have to use the technology that we have right now. They're shutting us down through the mainstream media, but we've still got internet. We've still got email. We've still got a telephone, right? Get active, as Tim did. And that's what you also do. What I'm also going to get Tim to do is we really should register mail it. That's what you do. But because we're working in real time here, and he CC'd himself and myself on it, and now that we've brought it out into the public, let's see what they do. But that's what you ultimately do, people, is that when they trespass against you, you email them the communication with a notice, you fax it to them, and then you also send it registered mail requiring a signature on the other end. Why? Now they cannot deny that they did not receive it. Okay,
Mhm.
but he's going to
Yeah.
get a call from her office. So this has been a great opportunity, and I'm so grateful, Amina, that I have you to reach out to with my YouTube channel shut down. And I'm so grateful, Tim, for you. Tim's normally off on a Sunday for coming in today, but as Tim has told me, this isn't about him as well. This is about all of us. And you're
Yeah,
a
it is.
brave man coming forward with this, Tim.
Thank you,
And like I
Tim.
said,
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank yous.
Yeah,
We
thank you
really
both.
appreciate it. So,
You're quite welcome.
yep.
No, it's
Yep.
important.
Well, on
And,
that note, like I
it's
said, yeah,
team, sorry, it's teamwork. We all have our part in this, what we can do. And it's all a different value from each of us. But when we bring it together, we're a force. So
yep.
it's a good
And that's
thing.
why that notice is so powerful. Okay, that's at the back. Don't worry about the front page. You can write something simple. You can just simply copy that and you send that notice of liability to
Mhm.
every MP, every MPP, and you require them to put in writing they answer those 3 questions. And when they don't answer those 3 questions and they don't produce the contract, does everybody understand it's game over? Everything that's coming out of these people's mouths and the legislator does not apply to we the people. See how simple this is. And
Mhm.
that's why on MASH, you take that notice and you start firing it to chiefs of police. You start firing it to any man or woman that's operating as an MP or an MPP. Send it to the top people, Ford, Trudeau, put them all on notice. Okay? And if you want, copy a warrior calls on it, because that would be great, because then I will build up a vault of communication showing that these people were told, these people were shown en masse, not just because of the Sukleski court, not just because of this communication that we've done here today, but they've received thousands of communications from people across this country bringing these simple questions forward that require them to answer. This is why all of this corruption is occurring, because those 3 questions are not being answered, and they won't answer them most likely out in the public or in the media, but where they are going to have to answer them is in that public courthouse. See how simple
Mhm.
it is, people? And we just have to get the rules of civil procedure out of the way. That's what they're blocking us all for. And then you move that claim. Those 3 notices, those 3 questions, that's all you move into a court against Justin or Doug Ford or any attorney general or whatever. What are you people doing? You're putting paperwork in front of me telling me that all these legal codes, rules, and statutes and bylaws apply to me. Well, you want to show me the contract upon which you're relying? Because as it says, it's those 3 questions. Stand
Mhm.
on that square and don't move it, and you get all over these people to respond to those 3 notices, and watch what starts to happen, people. This is the moment for us, and that's why, it's through the grace of God we're able to use this trespass in multiple ways to awake people, to show them further the depths of the simplicity of accessing a public courthouse and the power of only using a few words in an actual notice.
I agree. So I think I want to try to keep this to half an hour, just because it's, again, a lot of information to process and take in. But this is been a great video, and thank you so much, Tim, because this could help so many people out there going through the same experience you're going through. And even small business owners, I mean, they need everything they can right now to stay strong and get through this. There's so many suffering and so many closing, and God help you, you're doing okay, and your business is thriving. So it's important to get this message out there. Share this video, share the other videos, and let's start learning how to stand up as a man and woman, because we do have rights. We have lawful rights. So it's time to learn what they are and not keep our head in the sand, right, so to speak. So thank you again, both.
And I would say to every business, as I said to Tim, whether Tim does it or no, I've just said to him, tear down all these. So you have to remember that we're always constantly being, our consciousness being compromised, because it's continually being reinforced, this fraud. Every
Mhm.
store you walk into, they've got these 6-foot meter rules or whatever it is, right? Social distancing, wear a mask. To people that are your own private, again, not government businesses like the LCBO or the beer store or whatever they operate, or so to speak, municipality buildings, but your own private business. Okay, I'm saying with all my heart to everybody, this is how you fight back. Tear down these notices, tear down these signs, realize that the mask is completely fraud that's going on. This is why we must not support this. I realize Tim says you can wear a mask whether you want or not in it, but he can just have people walk into the store with a mask on or not, whether he has a sign up or not. Okay, that's their right to do when they come into his store. Okay, as long as they're not causing wrong and harm in Tim's store, everybody's welcome there. Okay, we need to push back, and this is how I'll protect any business owner that's in this country. Okay, it's so simple, because you all need to understand that's why they need to get that notice. It will destroy anything. They can come and put a $1 million fine against you, and it's those same 3 questions, right? How can McDonald's come and fine Tim? Right? Imagine if they came and gave him a $100,000 fine, or started attacking his business, putting all these, codes, rules, and actions, or codes and bylaws that occur within their corporation. They can't do that to Tim. And that's why I say to every man and woman, this is how we fight back in the here and now. Start tearing these signs down in your stores. Start standing up for yourself. The notice that's here before you here today, once you understand it, that will protect you. And if that won't protect you and you need a little help, you reach out to me, any store owner, and I'll make it simple for you. So in closing, Tim, do you want to say a few words to everybody? Just let them know how you feel about everything that's going on in this world right now, and all that you're doing to make a difference.
Yes. It is crazy, and I beg all small business owners out there to not allow this to happen to them. And Minister, you're right. Give Christopher a call if you have to, if you need guidance. He's been great in helping me through this. They are trying so hard to ruin the small business people. They don't care, because they got the big box stores, and they allow them to open and do whatever when a lot of them should have been closed. But with that being said, none of us should have been closed. With all the evidence at light, and from day one, I have argued the point and said, no, this isn't right. So again, please, if anything is happening to you, give Christopher a call. We have to work as teams, and not just give up and close our businesses up because we don't want to fight.
God bless you, Tim.
Yeah, God bless you.
God bless you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. That's very meaningful and very profound in a time like this in our world. And we have to reach out to each other. So please, go to awarriorcalls.com. That's the website. I'll have the link in the description, and take a look, read through. It is simple. Once you get through it, it is a simple process. So thank you both very much, and we will continue. And I can't wait to hear the outcome of this. So thank you. Thank you both.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good Sunday.
Yes, you too.